The original Rogue Legacy was an engaging mix of randomly generated dungeons, roguelike mechanics, and a vast array of enemies to fight along your travels through the sprawling 2D levels. Developed by a small squad out of Toronto, the team created an endearing and challenging experience that tested the player's patience and rewarded you for progressing through generations of failure. The ability to pass on various traits to your next of kin was a unique gameplay feature that allowed the player to feel like not all was lost on death. While the gameplay was fast-paced, you could feel that sense of progression as the early game slowly became easier over time and you came up against more difficult challenges. After 2 years of early access development, Rogue Legacy 2 promises a brand new artistic approach, a revamped biome generator to increase the randomness, and more everything really, with no two characters being the same. The devs have dubbed this a perfect sequel to blend Rogue Legacy and a sequel. So does this game have that special sauce to exceed its predecessor, or will we regret our life decisions by ordering the special sauce in that sketchy 2 AM kebab? Let's bite in and find out together. Welcome to Koshify. My name is Koshi, and this is Rogue Legacy 2. Now, if you keep coming back to watch these reviews, consider subscribing to the channel and we can grow it together. I'll be reviewing the PC version of this game, and I purchased a code myself, so I'll be thanking my wallet for this one. If you haven't played the original Rogue Legacy or any other roguelite type games, the general premise is you spawn, figure out the controls, and then die to the third enemy you fight. You spawn, purchase an upgrade with your small amount of gold, and die to the 10th enemy you fight. You then spawn, unlock the first gear item, and make your way all the way to the first progression wall and die because it introduced a new mechanic. This progress continues right through the game, but as you learn the mechanics, you get a sense of progression each time. Each playthrough allows you to get a little bit more powerful, and as long as you keep running face first into the wall enough times, you'll eventually break it down and continue your progress. From loading up my first playthrough of Rogue Legacy 2, you can tell that a lot of work has gone into the game to separate it from its predecessor. While the roots of what made the original fun and engaging is there, the quality of the art has been increased dramatically, and the game is just oozing with charm. From witty dialogue from the various NPCs you interact with, to little notes scattered around the various areas creating a story, and the game just feels like it really has evolved. The game rewards both fast and slow playthroughs, and once you've figured out what a particular enemy will do at any given moment, it allows the game to be much easier, as long as you're paying constant attention. With the constant feeling of your character carking it at any moment, this gives a real feeling of freedom. If I had 1 or 2 bad generations of heirs, I knew that this could just be a short run. With that in mind, I just did what I could and collected enough gold to maybe get the next upgrade to my castle, and that was completely fine. There isn't a worry about retaining souls or the arduous journey of running back to your dead body and being scared for your life the entire time. You learn to accept that unless you're God's gift to gaming, you're going to die, and that's okay because the game is built with this mechanic in mind. Get what you can, upgrade your base with it, and go again. It's this repeatable get in and get out mechanic that makes me happy to play this game over and over again. Upon your inevitable death, you'll have the option to split your well-earned gold between upgrades in your mana, unlocking new classes, and gear to use on your next of kin's adventure. Mana wing upgrades come in all sorts, from unlocking new character classes and NPC shops for stat increases and tax evasion purposes. Unlocking these NPCs allows you to split your gold into upgrades, which can be used on your next adventures. Additional defensive gear, new weapons, and runes are all available to you to help you on your quest. These NPCs also spout little bits of silly dialogue that had me smiling more times than I can count. These things are never really repeated, and the only time they want to talk to you is when they have something new to actually say. Once your hoarded tax winnings have been spent, you speak to the ferryman Sharon, give you away your leftover gold, for tax purposes, and embark your next ill-fated adventure. It's a simple mechanic that really stops you from hoarding gold or thinking that it's useful for the next boss. Like a Black Friday sale, you run through the castle trampling everyone in your way and acquire the goodies, spend, and get the hell out of there. This means that you're not stockpiling, waiting for the next big challenge, worried that some item is going to be needed later. Along your travels, you will find challenges that grant various heirlooms. These challenges will use the heirloom's given ability, and you need to quickly adapt to the challenge presented in front of you. This can be a variety of platforming challenges, puzzle solving, or kill chamber clearing, and it was always a fun time trying to obtain these, as it was a big step up to have that permanent upgrade. Things like double jumping are critical when half the screen is filled with incoming projectiles and you can't iframe dodge through. Early on in the game, each death does suck, especially when you're learning, but then you're excited to play again because your next of kin has a special trait or a spell that you haven't used before. Sure, it might be just another knight, but this one has a cool shockwave spell and is aerodynamic, whatever that means. My initial reaction to this was very positive. There are so many to unlock throughout your playthroughs, and new ones just kept popping up, which kept the replayability fresh. I even gave myself challenges when I saw a pacifist traded mage who had a 250% gold bonus. This run I knew I was getting in and getting out as quickly as possible and getting rich while doing it. Sure, the run only lasted about as long as I last in the bedroom, but I still had fun and that's all that matters. My partner is going to hate me for that one. Each of these traits have a drastic impact on how successful your run can be, or they can just be fun. Did you want to feel the nostalgic vibe of the olden times? There's a trait called Nostalgic that does just that. It changes the sounds and color of the game to an olden-timey TV style, which just adds to the charm and the sheer diversity of the content in Rogue Legacy 2. Throughout each run, you'll also encounter a number of choices between two powerful relics. Like the traits of your next of kin, they apply bonuses to that run only. When you're starting out, this can be exciting because it's new things to find. This is until you realize that you're getting no more gold from this run and it's all being converted to XP. This does add to the randomness though, and allows for RNGs to praise you, resulting in some really good finds. Think Binding of Isaac levels here. You may encounter 3 or 4 relics that really work well together for your chosen character, and once you find a castle layout you like, you can lock that in and keep progressing. To help with this, eventually you can unlock the Architect, who has the ability to lock in a castle layout at the expense of an ever-increasing cost of additional gold found in that run. If you have a layout that works really well and allows you to fight the first boss really quickly, it might be a good idea to save that one and then give it a few test runs to train yourself up for future fights. I think it's a great feature that I took advantage of pretty much every boss I went up against. The one caveat to this is the chests don't respawn their rewards, so you won't be able to just repeat easy gold hoarding to level up quickly. You also have the ability to meet an NPC that allows you to permanently teleport to the next area. Sure, you have to be mostly through the area to find the person, but it allows you to limit some of the grind of running through early areas over and over, killing the same enemies and being worried about your health the entire time. The constant sense of progression from so many elements is really nice, and it constantly makes me excited to continue running my face into the next wall, hoping it will break down. The best part of this whole wonderful experience is the feeling that you get when you finally do break down that wall and overcome a difficult challenge. And boy is it amazing. Sure, you have a mild concussion and a bloody nose, but all of that was worth it because it wasn't just you that helped kill the boss, it was a long legacy of kin behind you that made it all possible. These boss fights are also challenging and rewarding when you finally defeat them. They utilize elements of that area's heirlooms and skills that you learned along the way, which makes each fight seem like it fits into the area it's protecting. Most of these fights also have a teleporter right next to them. Once you've completed the needed trial to enter the boss room, you can lock that room layout down with the Architect and then try it over and over again until you overcome it. To help with this, the gameplay animations are tight, and each time you die it really feels like it was your fault. Without an invulnerability window from your dash, you are prioritizing not getting hit at all. You can't perfectly dodge roll through any attack, and the focus is on not getting hit rather than timing your dodges properly. This can take some getting used to, but once you have that down, you can use it to your advantage to capitalize on enemies' attack patterns. A lot of the enemies have been reused from the original game, but they have been tweaked to fit the new art style, and they do fit in with the game's aesthetic really well. On the whole, the graphics look both simple and amazing. When compared to the original game, it really is a night and day's difference. Gone is the pixelated art style, and Rogue Legacy 2's wonderful cartoony look, complete with a new lighting, and overall feels like it has been a massive upgrade. There are also technical improvements on the original game, allowing you to better understand the world around you and also scale the world both up and down to fit your skill level. For starters, you now have a class talent alongside your weapon and a magical spell. This will change based on the character class you are playing and will generally help you avoid damage, block, or knock out your opponents quicker. There are also a variety of parkour sections that are mixed in with the combat. All characters you now play have a spin kick button, which allows you to bounce off all manner of enemies, boxes, and various specific items in the world around you. This allows for some great variety when it comes to the randomized level design. A neat little addition here to note is now you have the ability to know the level of difficulty an area is thanks to the new risk system. There are 6 stars for 6 different areas which increase in difficulty. As you enter a new area, you now know at a glance if you should be progressing through here or not. This is very useful when the first area can split right off into the 6th, and without that system in place, the only way of knowing would be to get pummeled by the first enemy you find, ending your run. The previously mentioned scaling system also appears to be a new addition in the form of the house rules. The game allows you to change things like enemy health, player health, a toggle for permanent flight, and various percentages for burdens that affect the god gamers attempting New Game Plus modes, which there are multiple. The devs even suggest values here for a more casual or hardcore tailored experience, which is fantastic to see. On top of this, relics have also been upgraded both in quantity and in information. There are plenty more relics to collect through your run, and all run off a resolve type stat level. This is controlled by your currently equipped gear and allows you to balance this stat with the relics that are available to you on your run. The trade-off here is that if you have less than 100% resolve, you start to lose your original max health. Most of the time you have a choice between two relics as well, and as long as you've gotten them once before, the game tells you what they actually do. This is a massive improvement from the original game that essentially required a wiki up on your second screen to see what a found relic would do to you. Along with these are cursed relics, which can also provide massive bonuses, but only after a certain condition is met. Overall, this is everything a Rogue Legacy fan could possibly ask for in a sequel. There's more things to do, more customization, an enhanced combat system with talents and parkour elements, and a gorgeous new art style to boot. I can definitely recommend Rogue Legacy 2, even if you haven't played the original or many roguelites. It has tens of hours of replayable content, scalable difficulty where needed, and a sense of progression that always kept me excited for another run. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed Rogue Legacy 2 if you do end up picking it up. Let me know down below what you thought about it. Give a like on the video if you liked it. If you keep coming back, consider subscribing, and I will see you again soon. Until next time, Koshi, out.